I've heard so many people talk to me about the daily scrum or the daily stand up, like the podcast. I've heard people talk to me about both, but I thought it'd be fun today to talk to you about 3 reasons why morning stand ups are actually a good thing. So I recall many people who have tried this and said that it was arduous, or said that it was difficult, or said that getting people to participate was hard, or that getting the right atmosphere in order to make this work was very difficult. And I think that these people aren't focused on the benefit of what they're trying to get out of it. They're focused more on the routine or the rigor of trying to do it. And I think that if you loosen up the rigor, get to the point where you're doing this well, and you'll discover benefits that you didn't even know existed. So picture, if you will, it's 8:30 a.m. You sit down in front of your laptop, having ingested insufficient coffee or caffeine to get started, caffeine of your choice, right? So you open up your code to do a refresh from where you left off yesterday. 30 minutes later, your context is rehydrated. You've tracked down the bug you were trying to fix. And it looked like yesterday before you're signing off, and you're ready to go to work. Ding! Here comes a Slack message. It says, now it's time for your daily scrum. Oh, everybody mumbles to himself, grabbing their computer, heading to the conference room, doing their thing, trying to get out of it as quick as they can, right? An hour later, you and your team stumble out of the glass box, back to your desks, only to sit down in front of your laptop after the coffee's worn off and said, okay, where was I again? If this sounds familiar to you, if you've ever worked in tech before, right? This should sound like something that happens every single day to some people. And I want to argue that it's not leadership's fault. It's not Agile's fault. It's not the team's fault. It's a misunderstanding of how to get the maximum benefits out of a daily scrum. That's what it boils down to. So let's start with the most easy, obvious one. First and foremost, stand-ups are called daily scrums or stand-ups for a meeting. We want people to actually stand up. This should be a meeting that you could use as a tool to understand accountability of the team and daily progress on the projects and tools and things that you've been working on. It should give you clarification on the journey and the direction it should be taken that day. Originally, when Deloitte took control of the Scrum meeting, stand-ups were going to be quick check-in. It was over before you took the opportunity to sit down. It was supposed to be something really, really fast. But then it mutated into a mere shadow of its former self when people said, well, in this meeting, we could also give an executive debrief or a quick overview. And we could do a round-robin check-in with each person and figure out what they did yesterday. And what you saw was the original intent of the meeting morph into something that was going to be a full-blown report. And I think the original, take advantage of this opportunity, stand up and stretch your legs for just a couple of minutes, get out of your chair brain into your real head so you can solve problems. It has been medically proven that standing increases blood flow to your brain. It can help you recall things and can help you remember things. So if you look at this from a medical perspective, it's okay to stand up for a few minutes. In fact, throughout the day, I stand up when I'm teaching, just so that I can have a chance to stand up, even if it's just for a few seconds. Stand up, get the blood moving, sit back down. This shouldn't be considered like something that is, I heard one team say, well, we do scrum, we do stand-ups. I said, why do you do stand-ups? I said, because plank is too hard. I said, those are the two options. And I laughed at first, but then I thought to myself, good idea, because plank is healthy too. So my point is, if you're going to do a scrum, make sure you understand why. Make sure you stand up. Make sure you keep the meeting brief. I say 30 seconds per person, never to exceed 15 minutes. And make sure that everyone is maximizing the value they get out of this meeting. Okay, let's go to number 2. It gives you a chance to socialize with another human being. Similar to stretching your legs like we talked about before, this may be your only time in a day that you get to communicate with another human being in your work setting, right? Your coworkers shouldn't feel like they're being held prisoner by the stand-up, right? Shooting them a message on Slack isn't going to cover everything, unless you're shooting a message on Slack to ask how their weekend went or something like that. But you may be surprised how receptive your coworkers are going to be when they have that type of distraction, as opposed to a distraction that's going to last a long time, that's going to pick apart what they've done and what they haven't done, and really break down everything into minutiae detail and force them to feel like they're being micromanaged. I think that if we use the tools that we have to create a great atmosphere for the Scrum, it's going to be better for everyone involved. Okay, let's go to number 3. Take time to practice creative writing. So by now you become accustomed to the same tired stand-up formula. The project manager goes around the room, duck, duck, goose style, landing on you. You pipe up with the same no blockers, no impediments for the umpteenth time and hope that no one investigates any further to find out you really do have a blocker. Instead of saying no blockers and no impediments, try to find new ways to give status updates, maybe even giving your update on impediments earlier in the day or when the impediment happens. And 0 no new obstacles or null barriers. And people will turn their head and say, that's interesting. I never heard it put that way before. But it shouldn't be something that you're trying to answer in a meeting anyway. What you have to remember is this isn't an interview. No one should be standing there with a glass on going, hey, it's time for the Daily Scrum. I'm so glad you can be here today. So tell me, Jonathan, what did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today, Jonathan? Do you have any impediments, Jonathan? Our next guest is Rachel. Oh, my goodness. Somebody get me out of that meeting as fast as I can, right? You need to make sure that you understand that this isn't your opportunity to report on a JIRA ticket. That's not what this meeting's for. If you're going to maximize what's happening in this meeting, this is a chance for you to showcase a quick accomplishment. It's your chance to let everyone know, hey, these are the things I'm picking up. These are the pieces I'm working on. And to make sure everyone's on the same page. It's more of an alignment kumbaya than it is to break things apart, right? If you can take advantage of getting together in the morning and letting it be a sign to reach out to your product leadership teams and offer alternative solutions on how your defunct morning meeting could become an effective daily stand-up, that could help you go a long way. Now, there's lots of other episodes that I've done on daily stand-up. One is about 3 questions and the real 3 questions and what they should be, and talking about shouldn't be an interview. There's another one about rats that talks about having the right agenda, the right time box for the meeting, the roster, having everything pre-done, right? So there's a lot of good stuff, but it's up to you to decide how you want to conduct this meeting. My best advice is to make it part of your team working agreement. And if you haven't already studied or haven't already become familiar with the daily stand-up guide that I put together, it's a short 1-pager. Send me over a message or drop in the comments here, guide, stand-up guide or daily Scrum guide, and I will send you over a copy for free of the 1-page guide that I use and I teach in all my certification classes. And I think that will help you quite a bit get the most out of this meeting and not make it be that dreaded thing you do every day. That's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.